Today on For the Record, Leroy sits down with Rudolf Britz to unpack what it means to get smart with insurance.
Rudolf, does getting smart about insurance boil down to understanding the fine print within your contract when you factor in that there's a lot of legal jargon that's attached to it?
Leroy, at Momentum Insure, what we try to do is make the wording as easy to read as possible, but that doesn't take away the fact that there is a lot of legal jargon in there. What we really see in our practice is that we try not to hide behind the nitty-gritty and the fine print, and we try to give the customer the benefit of the doubt when it comes there. So what I would say is, for people taking up insurance currently, they must just be as transparent and honest as possible. There's often a case of where the insurer or ourselves would ask for how many claims you've had in the past, say 3 or 5 years, whether you've been insured before, etc. And those facts are absolutely critical in making sure that the contract that we get to and the agreement we ultimately get into with each other are valid and legitimate.
So having said that, what do I need to do in order to get the ideal insurance, and why is that so important?
So to get the ideal insurance, I would say you need to be as transparent as possible, as I said just now, but also you must manage your own risk well. So people who have had many claims in the past, in our experience, tend to have many claims in the future. And for them, the premium will reflect that. So if you're someone who drives recklessly, then that will obviously reflect in your premium over time. So if you want a good deal, you must drive safer. And that's where Momentum Insure tried to do things a bit differently to try and help people to drive safer. So for example, on our app, we have a telematics bit that you can activate, and that really tracks how you get around. It doesn't attach to the asset necessarily, so it attaches to the individual, and it tracks then how that individual moves or travels. So even if you were to drive with your reckless friend, you can now ask him to please drive slower or please take it easier, because it will affect your own safety on the road. The benefit of that to our policyholders is that if you drive safer and you earn more what we call safe days, you can get up to 30% back of all your premiums that you spent over the course of a year, just because you exhibited safe behavior.
Now you talk about safety. How does the science of safety from a momentum perspective then apply?
So Leroy, we've done a bit of research, both using our own data and using the police services information, and we've seen that the incidence per capita of crime has reduced significantly over time. So the frequency is lower, but we understand that people still feel unsafe, and I believe it has to do with the consequences of what could happen should there be a burglary or a vehicle theft. That is still pretty severe. So what we've done then, using that scientific evidence, we've created a panic button on our mobile app that you can press, and there would be a guard at your front door within minutes of that happening. So if you're a single mother with 2 children living in Primrose, for example, you must feel unsafe at night, and this then can give you good access to a feature that gives you safety and certainty.
Now let's talk about the trends. What are some of the most interesting trends that have arisen as a result of COVID coming about?
We saw some interesting stuff, Leroy. We saw people's mobility reduce significantly right in the beginning with the hard lockdown, as much as 40% of the mobility reduction. But that's crept up as the levels lifted, and of late we've seen people moving around as much as they have prior to COVID. I do think people move around less in the peak periods, but they move around in aggregate as much as they did then.